everyone, it's Nicole. Welcome to the channel. So today's video is for the newest release from Zoya. I have their new spring 2024 collection called Bloom. I am not quite sure what's been going on with Zoya, but I feel like their last couple of seasonal releases have come out what feels like a little bit late in comparison to other mainstream brands. But I guess technically on time for actual seasons to start, so I guess there's that. So for spring 2024 we have the Bloom collection, which is a 6-piece release that features a variety of, well, not really a variety, it's only 2. So we have 2 finishes, creams, and then some glitter polishes. These are all available right now on the Zoya website. I purchased this release with one of the promos that Zoya had going on for the collection. So as always, down in the description box, links to where you can pick these up, Zoya's social media pages, my social media pages, as well as timestamps are down there as well. Let's just get into this video. First up, we have Fleur, which Zoya describes as a classic spring pink cream. We have 3 pink creams in this release, and while I wouldn't say they are dupes, 2 of them are incredibly similar. I will have side by side so you can see the color differences between them. Fleur had a really nice formula. It had the kind of cream formula where it's a little bit on the thicker side, but it stays where you put it. You don't have any issues with like flooding or pooling or any of that. This did self-level very nicely. My Fleur swatches show this one in 2 coats plus glossy top coat. This does dry down significantly darker than it initially applies. It also looks like a completely different color when you see the nail next to the bottle. Out of the 3 pink shades, I would say I like this one the most. It's light without being pastel, and it's saturated without not feeling like a spring color. As far as shades of pink, since Zoya didn't really give it one, I'm gonna put it in the deeper bubblegum that's a little bit more cool, but not like purple category. This was the first polish in this release that I swatched, and I used a peel-off base coat from my Fleur swatches. I had initially thought that the formula on this was not good. I realized when I went in to do my second swatch that it wasn't that the formula wasn't good. It was actually that for whatever reason, these do not apply well over a peel-off base coat. I found they applied much more smoothly over a regular base coat and not the peel-off base coat. So I'm gonna fault the unevenness that I'm seeing in the Fleur swatches to the peel-off base coat and not to the polish itself, because I did not have that issue when I was doing my live swatches. Usually when a formula is wonky, I can really tell doing my live swatches because of the angle that I record those. And now we have Phoebe, which Zoya describes as a watermelon pink cream. I'll be honest, I did not realize watermelon was a pink. I thought that was a red, but okay then. Phoebe also had a really nice formula. I used 2 coats from my Fleur swatches. This was the cream in the release that I realized these were not applying well over my peel-off base coat. I was finding that the creams applied best over a normal base coat. This had a very similar formula to Fleur in the sense that it was like a little bit on the thicker side, but not so thick that I was like, oh wow, that is thick. The kind of thickness that adds to opacity. It stays where you put it, self-levels really nicely, that kind of thick. I really love that this is a more saturated pink and it's not a pastel pink, especially since this is Zoya's spring release. However, I just hate that we have 3 pink creams in this collection.
Hate it, hate it, hate it.
It's too much. My photos show Phoebe in 2 coats plus glossy top coat. I had a lot of deja vu while I was swatching this collection. I had a moment where I thought I swatched the same thing twice. So here is Fleur and Phoebe side by side. They are not dupes. I think they have different undertones and they have different vibes to them, but I had to go back and look over my footage because I felt like I swatched the same thing twice, and for that reason, I think they're way too similar to be in the same release. And the final cream in this release is called Zaria, and Zoya describes it as a deep spring rose pink cream. Zaria had a fantastic formula. However, unfortunately, this is one of those shades of pink that photographed very, very red toned. I really, really hate colors like this because it makes color correcting them a huge pain in the ass, because it's pink, but it's also a red toned pink, but it's not red. I really hate colors like this because it makes my life a lot more difficult. Zaria had a fantastic formula. It dries down to be a lot darker than it initially applies, and it also dries down a lot more sheer than it initially applies. Initially, I thought this was a good 1-coater on me, but I found it dried down a lot more sheer. My Fleur swatches do show this one in 2 coats plus glossy top coat, but I could see some visible nail line through this one. Really see the more pink tones in this one here in natural lighting. It was very overcast day I was swatching this entire release. I did not personally experience any staining with any of the creams in this release. However, if your nails are more prone to staining with reds and pinks, I would recommend doubling up on base coat just because these are all fairly pigmented. Hi, editing. Well, I guess this is pre-editing Nicole. I just wanted to show the consistency of the Zoya polish before I add any thinner. It is thick. Very, very thick. Very, 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 oop, probably shouldn't have done that. Alrighty, so the first of the glitters is called Rhiannon, and Zoya describes it as a vibrant icy blue with microfine holographic aqua and white glitters. As you just saw, Rhiannon had an incredibly thick formula. I had to get very creative to be able to get swatches of these. Essentially what I did is I added a little bit of thinner, shook it up, did my first coat. What? Added more thinner, shook it up, did my second coat. What? Added some more thinner, shook it up, and did my third coat. What? That was the only way I was able to get these to apply smoothly, evenly, and not like in big old globs. It was a battle. Oh, hell no! And if you're wondering why I did it in so many steps, because the amount of thinner that I needed to get into the bottle, some of the nail polish had to come out. Really didn't want to have to use like an orange wood stick to try to scoop the glitter out of the bottle to get the nail polish thinner in, so that's the way I did it. You can see in the full hand swatches here that my coverage is not even, and that's because the first two coats were like glue. It's really unfortunate and honestly really disappointing because I was so looking forward to these glitters. Like, I was so pumped. That is Rhiannon in 3 coats plus 2 coats of top coat. These do dry down very textured because they are glitters, and they will of course be more difficult to remove. This next polish is called Hyacinth, and Zoya describes it as a sweet yet delicate candy pink with microfine holographic pink and white glitters. I had to do the exact same method of adding thinner to this polish as I did the last one. I think out of the 3 glitters, this was the least thick out of the bunch, but still it required a lot of thinner. While Zoya does say there is holographic glitter in these polishes, I did find that the colored glitter as well as the white glitter were what you were seeing the most on the nail. You got a little bit of sparkle from the holographic, but like the overwhelming color that you're seeing is whatever is like the color of the polish. If it wasn't for how incredibly thick this polish was, I would have liked this one a lot. Like, it's very cute. This is the type of pastel that like I can get down with and actively really enjoy on my nails. Even with how incredibly thick all 3 of these glitters are, I would not say coverage is particularly good in 2 coats. Found that you can see a lot of your nail through the glitters in 2, so I would say that these are likely going to be solid 3 coaters if you want fairly even coverage. And the final polish in this release is called Violetta, and Zoya describes it as a warm violet with microfine holographic aqua and rose gold glitter. Violetta was the thickest for me out of all of the glitter polishes. This one was so thick that my brush was like floofed slash gunked up. Got a picture of it here in the corner. I have had this happen in the past before with other glitter polishes when they get really thick, but usually that happens over like years and not brand new straight from the brand. The exact same method of adding thinner after each coat with this polish, and then when I finished my 3rd coat, I added a little bit more thinner because I had a feeling it was going to be difficult for me in the live swatch. So after adding an obscene amount of thinner, I was able to get this one to be workable. It was very pretty, but just I can't say it was a good polish just based on the sheer amount of thinner that I needed to use. I watched Jess Face 90's review of this release, and Jess also had incredibly thick glitters from this release, so I don't think this was just like a me issue, something happened in shipping. This seems to be like an actual either batch issue or an issue with the polishes themselves. Also, in case you are new to doing your nails at home or don't know about nail polish thinner is not the same thing as nail polish remover or acetone. It is a completely different product. I use the KB Shimmer nail polish thinner for all of my swatches here. KB Shimmer sells it on their website. Their website, however, does not ship internationally. If you are international and you would like to pick up the KB Shimmer thinner, I would recommend checking out one of their stockist pages or checking out polishpickup.com. KB Shimmer sells it through Polish Pickup quarterly, I believe, or every other month, one or the other. Want to wait for that. OPI also sells a nail polish thinner that I've heard is also really good. Holo Taco also sells a nail polish thinner that works exactly the same way as the KB Shimmer one. However, the Holo Taco one is quite a bit more expensive, but they do ship to a lot more countries than KB Shimmer does, so that's the best I can offer for my international friends. There are also some folks who have had good results using Sesh Restore. However, that product does have toluene in it, so if you add that to your nail polishes that don't have toluene, they will no longer be 5 free, 10 free, or whatever free the brand is that you were purchasing from. Links, of course, will be in the description box. Okay, so final thoughts.
My disappointment is immeasurable.
I gotta say, I was very hopeful that I would love this release solely just based off of all of the glitter. I feel like Zoya's past couple of glitter polishes that they've released both in collections as well as colors of the month have all been pretty damn good. So when I started swatching these and discovered they were not good, I was really
disappointed!
Usually when I want to review a collection, I do not watch anyone else's reviews prior to me doing my review. I don't want someone else's opinions floating around in my head as I'm making my own opinions on a release. But I did watch JessFace90's review on this collection, so I knew going into this that the glitters were going to be like thick. I did not expect they'd be that thick. I feel like in these kind of cases where the polishes come so thick where they're completely unusable and versus just like a little bit thick, I feel like there has to be something kind of janky going on with formulation. So that was actually pretty disappointing. This is reminding me a little bit of the China Glaze winter collection a few years ago, where the polishes were so thick that I could hold my bottle upside down and they were not moving. They needed a lot of thinner. And like, while I will admit, once I added thinner, I really enjoyed the polishes, I also feel like I shouldn't need to add that much thinner to enjoy them either. Like, I feel like this is that line where adding a couple of drops of thinner or like one good squirt of thinner is one thing. What I had to do to get these to be workable, I feel like that's way too much thinner to consider it like an okay amount of thinner to have to add to brand new polishes. I did also notice that the creams in this release, that the formulation on for whatever reason, they were not playing well with my peel off base coat. I always use the Holo Taco Peely base for all of my swatches because, you know, pop that shit off. And for whatever reason, I noticed that the creams in this release did not apply smoothly for me over the peel off base coat. I'm not quite sure why. Usually for creams, I usually go back and forth on swatching them between using like a smoothing base. And I was trying to decide if I was going to use a peel off base coat or just like a regular base coat with these. And I found on my nails that had the regular base coat that these applied a lot more smoothly than the ones that had just the peel off base coat. Don't ask why I put different base coats on different fingers. I don't have a good reason why. It's one of those things that I do sometimes for no particular reason.
In case you haven't noticed, I'm weird. I'm a weirdo. I don't fit in, and I don't want to fit in.
So yeah, I feel like overall this collection was a little bit disappointing, honestly.
You know, for me, dog.
Like the formulation issues, I just was not really a fan of. One thing in JessFace90's review where she was talking about like if these glitters had been Zoya's Pixie Dust, which is their texture polish line, that these would have been like way cooler. And I have to agree with Jess on this, that like, yeah, I think these would have been way better if these were Pixie Dust. But like, I guess Jess and I are the only ones out here who are still begging for Zoya to release Pixie Dust, because based on my comment section, y'all don't like textured polishes for some reason. As far as pricing and sale information goes, the Bloom collection is available right now on the Zoya website. I think Ulta is also getting these. Each polish is priced at $12 for a 15 ml bottle, or you can get the 7.5 mini size bottle for $8. So I would love to know what everyone thought of the collection. Let me know all your thoughts and opinions. I'm always super curious to see what people think of these releases. Before we end today's video, I do want to give a very special shout out to my channel members. Shenanigans! Just thank you guys so very much for the love and support. Names, of course, on the screen right now. If you would like to sign up for my channel memberships, I have a link for that in the description box. But, you know, please do not feel pressure to sign up for channel memberships. You know, like the video, comment, share, subscribe, all the things. Seriously, we are good. So thank you guys. Thanks again for watching, everyone. Have a fantastic weekend. I'll see you in the next one. Bye. And also, because I've been really enjoying doing these, like, guess what's on my shirt today? Because you can't really see it in the video. No comment. No comment. Just vibes. Bye.
When I get high, I ain't looking at the clock, still ballin' like Brian. Yeah, I'm headed to the Bucks, then I'm ballin' like yeah.